I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brew?
Here.
Mr. Babalani?
Here.
Dr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Menegini?
Here.
Mr. Pop?
Here. Approval of the agenda. Mr. Babalani wants to add closed session to the end for personnel.
Yes, correct. I make a motion, we go into add the executive session for personnel.
Support.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Approval of minutes of the regular meeting of August 21st, 2017, and special meeting August 31st, 2017. Is there any corrections or additions, or we need a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve the regular meeting notes from August 21st, 2017, and the special meeting notes from August 31st, 2017.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Approval of manifest 2017-17, the amount of $344,853.33. Mr. Pop, any questions?
No, I have nothing.
Ms. Brew?
Yeah, I had a couple on page 1 of 6. Under mayor council election, there was 3 for Danielson Greenhouse, and then it had the different properties there. 2 were for 75, 75, and 100. Is that cutting grass?
Yeah, it must be for cutting grass.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Babalani, any questions?
I had a couple comments, but I see Ray covered it under the grass cutting. It looks like it's going to be diversified somewhat.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Like we talked about. On page 2, the coal patch situation. I was talking to somebody at the batch plant up there, and they seem to figure that we're wasting a lot of money with the coal patch, that when the weather is warm, the regular patch is adequate, and that's what a lot of the other communities are using, according to this guy that's part of the coal patch plant. So I don't know, he seemed to think that we were wasting a lot of money with that.
Where's that at?
It's on page 2. Well,
There's 2 of them.
we're getting coal patch on a pretty regular basis, and one of them was $2,360. Or no, one of them was $1,022, and the other one was $511. But
I was going to question that too. Why are they the same amounts but different costs?
yeah, I was just
Well, they
told
split
that-
them 1/3, 2/3.
Okay.
We get one bill, but it's split between major and local. So
I
the
was just-
total is that.
I was just told that as long as the weather is real hot, the other patch is adequate, so that's about as much as I know about it. The Olson decorating, Ray, on the same page, the staining of the museum, was that out on bid, $2,360?
I don't know, the museum handles their own.
Yes, it was, Mark.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. On page 3, the antenna repair at the fire hall. I thought the antenna was new when they put the siren up. That was what, 2 years ago? Is that, this repair was $4,417?
It was hit by lightning.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it says they're late.
Oh, okay, so that's under the claim. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, so the insurance did pay for that. And had one other thing here, Ray, Terrazzo, 4 of 6, unit number 4, corner exterior repairs. Is that pretty much coming under budget as to what we had
Yes.
budgeted for that? Okay.
Yeah.
That was nothing new, that was something that had been planned on doing?
Yes, that's something we previously approved.
Okay. And then on 5 of 6, The second item down, HD Supply Waterworks Limited, 400 feet copper tubing, customer reimbursed. What's $1,600? What's the deal on that?
Must have been a customer job that,
Yeah, we're gonna be invoicing a customer. That was for a specific customer.
You mean we bought pipe for somebody through the city and,
We bought the materials for the water line,
okay, for what water line?
for the new house that Tyler Nichols is gonna be building.
Oh,
So that was, David's instructions were that we were buying some of the materials and invoicing them.
is that past practice? I've never,
We've done some line extensions like that where we bill them for the materials. I'm not exactly sure exactly what that's for, but I know that David said that there was an HD Supply invoice to be invoiced.
okay.
I can look into it, Lee.
Okay, I appreciate it, Mayor. And right below that, 4.7, I don't know, cubic yard concrete mix sidewalk repair, is this just one certain spot, Ray, or is it a couple of areas?
we had those 5 sidewalks, but I'd have to double check.
There was
Just
one
on the
that
water.
they poured behind the old Coast to Coast building on that side hill recently.
Yeah,
Oh,
there were
yeah,
5 of them.
right, yeah.
That
There
we
was a
had
water
ones,
On
line.
Sixth
problem
Avenue there, yeah.
last year.
Oh, okay, that's all I have.
I have no additional questions. We need a motion to approve the manifest.
I'll make a motion, we approve manifest number 2017-17 in the amount of $344,853.33.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes?
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mr. Brew? Mrs. Brew?
Yes?
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. Next, if anybody in the audience like to make any comments on tonight's agenda, go ahead, others will have room at the end for additional comments. Next on the agenda is Sturgeon Falls Hydro Runner Replacement Proposals. Mr. Anderson.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Over the past 2 months, we've been working towards coming up to a proposal or coming up to agreement on proposals for our hydro runner replacements. We had 3 companies that put in proposals from our solicitation, for this project. Now, this project is a design-build, completely design-build project, so there's quite a bit of upfront design which we identified. We're trying to correct our issues with what we've experienced at the plant. Under this particular report, one of the things that happened was about 6 or 8 weeks ago, a third company, we actually had 2 companies. We had Norcan, which is out of Canada, and Canyon Hydro, which is actually out of Seattle, Washington, just outside of Seattle, Washington. They were working with us on putting the proposals together for the project. And a company came forward out of Slovakia, this Liderstro. They requested an opportunity to put a proposal in, and of course, I think that, looking at the company, and we reviewed the company, that they're definitely, qualified. They're actually the largest of the 3. Our work would be extremely small for them, but at a very, as far as the engineering wise, they're more than capable of dealing with our issue. What we told them at the time was that it looked like we were trying to get a proposal approved before October 1st. And so I was really shooting, for mid-September to try and move it along. We came to a kind of a verbal agreement that, hey, if you can get it in by September 1st, before this meeting, that we would at least take an initial couple weeks look at it, before that meeting on the 18th. We did move quickly forward with Canyon and Norcan and got pretty comfortable with those 2 proposals. So out of courtesy, I guess, I'm not advocating tonight on a full proposal approval, even though I would like to move forward because of schedule. Anytime you miss up front, you really can't gate that back. One of the options that was given to us by Norcan was that they would be willing to start, or they would actually, there's some upfront engineering that they would be willing to perform, even if we decided to go with another firm, that they would be willing to do some evaluations, like I pointed out in my report. There's some concern that the shaft might be undersized in an overspinning situation, depending on size of the runner. They would be willing to do that work, which is the first work they have to do anyway. So in my proposal tonight, I was actually recommending that we move forward with NORCAN for that engineering amount. Even though, you know, they are the front runner, I think it's fair to say, in the overall proposal. It's just that out of courtesy for Leadestro, you know, we're going to give them a look this week. Their proposal is about $300,000 higher. A little less clear as to the breakdown. When you look at NORCAN's proposal, they had quite a bit of breakdown on some additional work that they're recommending right off the bat. I think Canyon will get to the same point, but I think they're farther behind in the engineering effort. They don't understand exactly what we have yet, but we have full confidence that they would get there. It's just going to take them a little longer from an engineering side. NORCAN is much more familiar. They actually did assist Simitech when Simitech came in and did that evaluation for us. I think that's why they have a little better understanding of our situation. So I'm going to open up for your questions. I mean, I gave you a pretty lengthy report. Candy was involved in the conversation, so she has some knowledge of the discussions.
So the spread between the two companies, the two lead companies, you're saying isn't going to be much of a spread once the other company gets on board with the amount of engineering and testing that needs to be done?
That's my guess at this point. I'm just looking at, you know, in reading through, and if you know, gave you a copy of all the proposals, you read through NORCAN's proposal, it's pretty detailed in their evaluation of what they think our issues are, and they're pretty spot on with what Simitech actually came out with. And I think they know that much more because they were somewhat involved with the mapping and evaluation up front with our issue. I think Canyon will get there. My guess is that, you know, when we interviewed them, and, you know, Canyon chime in here with that conversation, but I think that they were hedging on whether we talked about warranty, whether we talked about, you know, some of these additional items. They all thought that sounded reasonable, but they weren't willing to commit because they just don't know.
But NORCAN was to work out at least some kind of warranty with us.
Yeah, I had read that report, and I see that they had a 3-year warranty, and they felt that the problems would arise in that first 3 years of startup. And I believe that the warranty is the key word here.
That was one of my main
problems.
concerns when I talked to both companies. A nice thing too, NORCAN was here personally to talk to them. I mean, we talked to the other over the phone, but I just felt like with the warranty and stuff, they were, you know, I think they're pretty confident in their work, and, you know, they were like, we'll work something out with you, and, you know, if that makes you feel better, and, you know, the 3-year warranty, and I believe he's right. If we're gonna have the problems, we should see them right off the bat. So once we go in and they fix it and you dewater it, you should be able to tell, you know.
We see the stress cracking within that first year. You know, when we welded them up and we fixed them up, put them back in. I mean, we opened it up this last year and we experienced some of the cracking. So I think it does happen, you know, if we still have the stresses, it's going to happen within, you know, a short period of
Yeah,
time.
it sounded by the report that the other company was real wishy-washy on any kind of a warranty.
Yeah, and I think to their defense, they just don't, they're not going to extend themselves out promising a warranty. They just don't have the knowledge right now of the situation. I mean, all they're basically going off of is that Simitech report, whereas I think NORCAN has a little more intimate knowledge of the development of the report.
And they didn't only meet with us too, then they also went down to the hydro plant and looked at stuff too.
I have confidence in talking with all three. It's just, for our purposes, you know, we're looking at NORCAN as being a front runner in this, and if it weren't for the promise to Leadestro, I'd be requesting, you know, moving forward to NORCAN, lock, stock, and barrel tonight. I just feel like because we gave them that promise, I felt like, you know, we should probably.
And I felt the other company was good too, Mark.
Yeah, I just think that just by reading the warranty is a key issue for me because I know all the problems we've had over the last 15 years down there, 10 years. They've been terrible.
Does Leader Stroh give us a warranty?
Leader did have an indication of some type of, working out with some type of warranty, but again, they're like Canyon, they don't know what those designs gonna look like. They're not going to extend themselves up front, you know, with a commitment. And I just, you know, I mean, you look at Norcan's proposal, they had options for a 1, 2, and a 3-year warranty, which I thought was pretty fair based on how they dealt with it.
They were just gonna pay 1%, 2%, or 3%.
Right.
And now, before the next meeting, are we gonna get any indication that the 2 other companies would have some kind of warranty, or?
No, I don't think so, because what the indication that I had was that they would work out a warranty after they started down the engineering path, and they're not gonna start down the engineering path unless we approve them, because, you know, it's, you know, over $100,000 effort, you know, to do the complete engineering. You know, so they indicated that they would do, they could maybe work out something, but they weren't very definite.
No, they weren't.
They
I
weren't
mean, the
gonna
one company
commit.
for sure wasn't.
No. And Leader Stroh was the same way. They just weren't gonna commit to anything without getting into an analysis phase. You know, the CFA analysis and the finite element analysis. So, I mean, you have a more of an assurance with Norcan than you do with the other 2. And, like I said, I believe that Leader Stroh is roughly $300,000 higher right out the gate. And that's off a $3 million, roughly a $3 million project. Between Canyon and Norcan, you know, just looking at the difference between them, you know, I think they're going to be roughly the same when it's all said and done. The diffuser plate that Norcan references, I believe you're going to have that. I believe you're going to have, you know, to deal with some of the other items that they talked about. We're hoping that, in fact, one of the things that when we talked about the shaft issue is that Norcan was more specific about being able to design the runner so we don't lose efficiency, we lower the weight so that we don't have an issue on the shaft. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So they were pretty confident, because if we end up having to thicken the shaft, that means we have a bearing job.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so.
the cast iron that the second company wanted, that's gonna be a lot heavier for that shaft.
That'll be heavier,
And the
and
rotating weight is gonna be, you know, you could come off a balance real easy with that amount of rotating weight.
and there was concern about a large casting of that nature, as opposed to partial castings with some shop build. You know, the welds need to have QA, obviously QA and QC, but when you have that kind of a size of casting, if there's air pockets, if there's any kind of quality control, you're not gonna see it. You know, you'd have to x-ray that whole thing, and there was concerns with the committee on casting. You know, casting an entire unit like that.
Well, the rotating weight's gonna add a lot of stress to the whole situation, shaft, bearings, everything.
Sure.
Well, first off,
Oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, Ken.
And, you know, we still might have to go in and replace the shaft. We don't know yet. I mean, they're gonna check all that out. Hopefully not.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank Mrs. Brew for being in on these meetings. I'm sure it was interesting, but very time-consuming. And I also see here the overall recommendation by the Electric Utility Board is to move forward with Norcan. So I think we should move forward with this proposal,
The full proposal?
the full proposal, yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead with the whole thing. We're gonna wait, not gonna wait 2 weeks.
No, I mean, well, in 2 weeks, but for the Norcan be approved to begin engineering work, this,
You could actually just go with the full proposal right now, right, Ray?
You could, it's up to you. You know,
I will
we had
look at
mentioned
this
that.
other one.
I mean, you guys are talking about warranty work and warranty language and everything else, and if obviously that's the crux of one of the decisions that are being made, I'd like to be involved in taking a look at that warranty language and making sure that we get the best foot forward, working with Ray on this. So I'd urge the council not necessarily jump, I understand the recommendation and the concern and the comfort level, frankly, But this is a big project, let's take our time and dot our i's and cross our t's and let Ray and I vet it properly, so.
Right.
I'd like to pull the reins back just a hair.
Can you start, though, are you comfortable starting with the engineering? Because I think they need to
I
start
think that's
that.
appropriate, certainly. But the full project is a whole nother jump. It sounds like the council's more than willing to jump ahead. And again, that's just my recommendation, but it sounds like they want to get going with the engineering. It makes sense to do
Yeah,
that.
and they even said here that even if they don't get the initial engineering analysis, they'll deal with the shaft separately, even if they didn't get the whole contract. I mean, it sounds like some pretty
Yeah,
good people.
That's what they laid out, you know. They understood our schedule. See, if we start, I backed up the schedule based on the amount of weeks that they indicated for the project, and this is for all 6 runners. If we were to start October 1st, where engineering started October 1st, we would be ending up into January of 2018. If we were to start September 1st, right now, that backs it up to a good shot of getting out of there November 15th, you know, right around now, or right around in November, which is still reasonable for the contractor, you know, to install. We could pull back and just do 4 of 6 if we ran into some difficulties, you know, and wait till the following spring, but.
Well, and that's what he said too, they would complete one or whatever, so we don't lose generation instead of going in and tearing everything apart, you know, do 1 or 2 of them or whatever.
Yeah, they talked about not only doing, you know, as quickly as possible schedule, but also engineering economics. You know, looking at our flows, looking at does it make sense for us to get all 6 in? You know, should we get the unit 1 up? Because that's our bread and butter is our unit number 1. You know, that's just the 4 runners. Then come back in the spring, June, and put the other 2 in. Could have some impact, or should have some impact with construction, you know, depending you go to that.
I really
8
like
months.
that idea too. Get in there and get unit 1 going, and you wait a little bit, so if there is any problems, we didn't go and do all of them at one time too.
Yeah, so that's something that they definitely said they would work with us on.
Grant, those contracts have punitive damages for time delays, right? Like we normally had, remember when we had, well, you weren't here, but a few years back when I think Doc was in on that, and I was kind of pushing for that with the old contractor we had in town, and it worked out well for us because they were delayed.
So working some time constraints and some penalties if
Yeah.
time constraints aren't met.
I think that's very important.
That's something that we can discuss with them over the next couple weeks.
Okay.
That's basically something you put together, you know, it's not a cookie cutter
Yeah.
discussion, it's a specific to what we, you know, what we have, so.
Have we talked to any engineering firms independent of this to get their recommendations?
Yes, the Simutech, which is the next item on the agenda, but this is a very specific type of analysis, engineering analysis. When we started with the problem, Norcan's name was one of the first ones to come out. Simutech was then brought on, and you know, these firms are actually the ones that have the types of engineers that deal with this, so.
I was thinking more like, you know, Krause does more distribution or.
Yeah, he's not
Or
in
meat
that.
and hunt.
I think this is outside of your meat and hunts range.
Bruce doesn't want to take on any liability. We can't go there.
This is very specific. This is a very specific.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No, I don't, I'm not even going to go this part of it.
So we need a motion to proceed with Norcan on their initial proposal for engineering for $30,000.
I make a motion, we approve Norcan Hydro for the turbine replacement project engineering not to exceed $30,000.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
And next, Sturgeon Falls Hydro CFD and FE analysis of runners.
Yeah, this is just sort of the tail end of our previous discussion, the Simutech is the firm that did the initial analysis and report for us. They did an initial SCFD and FE analysis, got us started down this road. I did get a call about a week ago from the engineer from Simutech, and he was interested in, if we were interested in contracting with them to be a third-party oversight on this, the CFD and FE, this initial analysis phase, or at least this, this major analysis portion of the runner design. I did talk to Norcan specifically about this, because he did contact them to see if there was any help that he could give to Norcan. Norcan felt that they had it covered, so he came back to us. I do want to specifically, or be very clear that this is duplicative of what Norcan's going to do. However, you talk about, you brought out your concerns of warranty and you talk about concerns of insurance. This would be strictly a third-party oversight, secondary evaluation, parallel evaluation with Norcan that's contracted directly to us. So, they wouldn't be in any way beholden to Norcan. I'm not advocating one way or the other. It's just that if you feel like you want to have a little bit more insurance, this is another $28,000. You look at a $3 million project, it's less than 1%. It's up to you guys if you want to have this, or if you feel confident enough in the design build contractor to take on the engineering.
Well, you mentioned insurance, and that's the way I looked at it, like an insurance policy.
This would be like an insurance policy.
I hate to spend the extra money, but I'm feeling like with the problems we had before, we gotta have all the insurance we can. We gotta get this thing straightened out and fixed right.
Grant, do you see a potential of the division of the liability if we do have a problem? Who's going to be held accountable, being they're both doing the same job? They're both doing the same studying and the same, if something isn't right, who's going to have the liability? You got to have some kind of a clause for a division.
Well, they're gonna say, hey, we're just overseeing this, we're not the ones doing the work. This is one of those situations where as I'm listening to this and looking at it, and we're tasked with trusting a company called Norcan, who none of us, I think Candy's had some interaction, Ray's had some interaction, but the rest of the council, I think they've done some work, but to place trust with somebody is difficult when you don't have that long-standing relationship or know the individuals. In this situation, you've got another engineering company overseeing another engineering company. It's kind of like hiring on multiple attorneys to all keep an eye on each other.
Bee watcher to watch the bee watcher.
Right. So there's pros and cons to it, and what happens if they start arguing? What happens? You can see where things can go. I think it's like I think Ray's pointed out. He doesn't take a position on it, but it's an insurance to have more than one eye on it and more than one person looking at it to see where it goes and have another set of eyes, I guess. As far as the liability, Mark,
Because you're paying $130,000 and you're paying $128,000 some dollars. So there's not far off. So,
well, the $30,000 was only to get started. Their engineering numbers are much higher than that.
but their engineering costs for this first phase, the other one is only looking at, the second one that we're dealing with right now is only looking at the first phase, right?
No, they're gonna evaluate it all the way through. But they don't have the major design portion, but they're gonna be evaluating this, throughout.
Did our electrical foreman have any
Oh,
preference?
He's like me. We talked about it, and he said, basically, it's up to you guys. He feels comfortable both ways.
Is this something we could put out on bids for other engineering departments to follow?
No, it's so specific, and we dealt with Simutech on the first CEFE that I'm not sure if you'd get the
Price.
pricing, because they'd have to come up to speed, someone new, and then I'd have to research to see who's qualified. This is a quality-based proposal.
Mark, I never answered your question. You know, as far as liabilities, I mean, if it comes back as a design issue and you've got two firms, one is designing it, the other one is double checking it, if you will, and confirming the design, you know, I don't think either one of them would agree to kind of a, hey, we're going to be 50% responsible type situation. It might be one of those situations where if something does happen, you're going to have to go back and kind of take a look at, you do have more than one firm to go after in the event of a design flaw, if you will, because one is being designed and the other one is confirming that the design is applicable and works.
But in the end, you're still going to get the same results. I mean, if you're going after somebody for $1 million and you're splitting it with two companies and it's costing you an extra $28,000 to get that, you're not helping yourself. If that other company is so big and it's been around for so long and it comes highly brought out by other people that been in the same situation we are, I don't think we're doing ourselves any justice by spending the extra money, because you're going to get $1 million if you got to sit, just throwing a number out there, if you're getting $1 million worth of insurance, who cares if it's between one company or two? And if this company has been around for that long and they know this business and they're a very respected company, that's like putting two insurance companies on your house. I mean, I don't get it. Your house is only worth so much money.
Well, my opinion on that is, and I totally agree with the money thing, you know, but the only thing is, it's kind of nice if we have them both done and all of a sudden one company's way off of the other company. It might open our eye and say, why is this different? We're kind of catching it before it all gets done, and we don't want to be in the same position we've been in, where it's all done and completed, where if they have a disagreement on something, we can look at it. There's no right or wrong to it, Mark. But
And then if you do come up with a difference, which one are you going to believe?
Yeah.
Well, they have to get together at that point.
Right.
I mean, you have two professionals that, one calculates something, another calculates something, and they have answers that are outside of the mean. They're gonna have to figure it out,
You know,
work together, figure out who's right, who's wrong. At least it puts a pause to it,
right.
you know, and then you have to go back and recheck your calculations. You have other people rechecking calculations.
But I mean, that's like the hydro, or that's like the waste plant. What was that project? $9 million?
The current waste plant?
Yeah.
No, what's that? That's 5 point.
5.5?
5.5.
Yeah, my question was, what just came up sitting here from the engineering side, is that if the two firms that are looking at the design don't agree, unless one of them finds fault in what they did, but if they don't, they still don't agree, then how does that get resolved? If this Narcan company ends up with a warranty, they're not going to want to do something that the other guys said, they don't truly believe in it.
Yeah.
So my question would be, if you get into that, how do you resolve that issue? I know what...
Because if you make them go the other way, they're not going to honor your warranty.
Well, I know what you're saying. It's like a QA/QC on the wastewater treatment plant design. Okay, we did the design work. Just because this is a design build doesn't really matter, but so we did the design work, but you want another wastewater treatment plant design firm to weigh in on what they think of our design, if you will. That's really what you're doing. And the question is, I don't know in this case, but I know in the case of the wastewater treatment plant, there's sometimes more than one way to skin the cat, and you won't get people to always agree. So I'm not saying whether this is a good thing or not. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do it. I would just wonder what would happen if they don't come to an agreement on a certain aspect of the design. Where does that leave you?
We could hire a third firm and
Ray, do they both come in at the same time?
They're working at the same time.
They both would be coming in at the same time?
They do work.
Because the thing
They do
is,
communicate
if they
together.
did disagree, we wouldn't have to give the whole bid to Norcan if.
But Norcan, but you're going to have I think you're going to have a better chance of your insurance claim kicking in if NORCAN does the whole project, and NORCAN is not gonna do, if their feet are in the sand on the way they wanna do that, they're not gonna honor the warranty if
No,
we
it's just a
push them to go
policy.
the other
It's
way.
more of a policy to see if there's a big discrepancy. Are we doing the right things? Or, you know what I mean? If there was a big discrepancy, and that's all it is.
Yeah,
It's a comfort level.
and just to be clear, NORCAN's gonna do 100% of the engineering.
Right.
I mean, they're responsible for the design. This firm would just be doing outside analysis, double checking, seeing if there's any fatal flaws. But to get back to Scott's question, all the engineering firms have multiple eyes look at calculations in-house. I mean, you have to have your drawings and your designs signed off by a second person, maybe even a third. So there's lots of checks that go on. It's just that this one would be outside of NORCAN rather than inside. And who knows, it might not be checking the details of the actual calculations, but they're doing their own on the side. I haven't gotten into the details of how that would work, so.
So as far as yourself and Tim, it's safe to say that either way is fine?
Either way for both of us, because I think there's a confidence that, NORCAN's done this for many, many, many years. It's just a level of quote-unquote insurance for the council if they felt they wanted to have that. If it's okay, then I'd say don't do it.
I think we'd be wasting our money, and we kind of get into a difficult situation if there was no agreements between the two.
It would certainly be unprecedented. I don't think we typically do that where we hire a second engineering firm to keep an eye on the first one. I think that would be, we could do that for a variety of projects. I realize this is more complicated.
Right, and we also put, $8 million into there, and we're going back and fixing it too. That's why I'm worried about it.
I have to agree with Candy. I don't like the idea of spending more money, but I would definitely feel a lot more comfortable if we went with this proposal.
Well, somebody should make a motion.
I'll make the motion that Simutech Group be approved for oversight, CFD, and FE analysis on the hydro runner replacement project for a price not to exceed $28,600.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
No?
Dr. Hayes?
No.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
No.
Next is City of Norway pay rate for non-union employees. This basically comes down to an adult summer help, increasing the rate to $15 an hour.
Yeah, this would be adult seasonal. We have one rate right now for adult seasonal, and that's just it's a non-student seasonal rate. This would cover anyone that's working during the course of summer and fall. Also, this does cover our ice shack, our warming shack employees. So, currently we're paying $12.25 per hour. Last year, we really struggled getting anybody into the ice rink, warming shack. This year, of course, we struggled with getting non-students to sign up. Talked it over with Mary, and we just thought that $15 an hour was a number to throw out there. Of course, we're open to what council thinks that they want to pay for that position, but we just are really struggling with finding anybody interested.
We don't have no insurance or anything on that, right? No benefits?
No, this is just...
So you're saving money.
I guess go ahead, Lee.
Mary, offhand, how much more would this actually cost us if we bumped that up? I mean, for...
So you're talking less, it's less than $3 an hour, these guys work, the ice rink is hit and miss depending on the winter.
Right, yeah, that can vary tremendously.
I mean, you're probably looking at no more than $500 at the high end, I would say, so, maybe $1,500 on the high end over the year. We don't, most of them are hired before the college kids and after. Like right now, trying to find someone, we're just not getting anyone to apply at 12 a quarter.
Well, we definitely need them for the work, because there's work for them, whether we stick with the 12 and a quarter or bump it up.
Well, and 15 was what we started at when we went with the
Garbage.
permanent part-time on the garbage.
Garbage truck, yeah.
That was kind
I
of-
think it's reasonable.
I guess I think it's reasonable too, and it'll help us get some people, but I was hoping that per contract, union contractor, well, it's not union contract, but I would like to see the garbage men get more hours, if at all possible, for the leaf pickup.
Yeah, they're maxed out right now, though.
They are maxed
Yeah,
out?
because what happened is,
Okay.
they have their 24 hours, but then they spend an extra 6 over at the wastewater plant.
Okay.
Because we got them doing labs. That was the initial idea, was to have them do it. In fact, they've done it in the past. It's just, we've got 30 hours for them in the contract, and...
But I mean,
they're
if
maxed out.
something, if the contract could be changed somewhat, if, you know, if everybody agreed on that, I would like to see it, so those guys could get a couple more hours, because they do a heck of a job for us, and...
Yeah, we did go through that in the negotiations, and the 30 hours was...
That was it, eh?
That was it, that was peak. You know, you look at actually having more people, you know, that's really what it comes down to. The other thing that, benefit that this will probably have is, you might get somebody, like, we saw this at the golf course, when we started moving towards, you know, having more seasoned employees as opposed to the college students, we found much more stability. You know, the guys are coming back. You know, hopefully that, you know, maybe we could get some consistency in them coming back to work these hours.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve Resolution 2017-24.
23, isn't it?
217-24, it says on this paper.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
On the agenda it says 23, but
Yeah, mine says 23 too.
On the agenda, and then the paper says 24.
do we know which one it is?
23.
Okay, 23.
I think I ended up moving it.
Problem
I think
solved.
I ended up moving it.
Support.
That's why I did it. It's 23.
Who supported, Babalani made the motion? Lee?
I support it.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Abstain.
Could I ask why you abstained?
Yes, I know somebody who applied for it. That's related to me.
Oh. Or is there a relative?
It's a
Otherwise, there's
relative.
specific reasons why you can abstain, I just wondering.
I checked with the lawyer before.
Okay. Next, number 10 on the agenda is approval of Sturgeon Falls Hydro Sub-Breaker and Relay Testing. Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, this is something that was brought to me recently from Tim. To have the relays, to have perform inspection and testing of the 2 battery sets, the breakers and the exciter breakers. So, it's something that he wanted Energist to go and perform. They gave us a price of $79.85 to do this work.
Any questions?
It's gotta be done.
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion that the hydro sub-battery breaker and relay testing proposal submitted by Energis be approved for a price not to exceed $7,985.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Approval of special events application, Leif Erickson. I think this is something we do every year.
Something we do every year. You have the schedule and the site map in your packet, so
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion for the,
I guess I got something, Ray, it shows on the map that they're blocking off 8th Avenue, and typically they block off 9th, right over here by the band shop. So I don't know if that's something that's wrong on the site
No, I think it's something that's new. Trish, you sat with Barb, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm just getting to the map.
Well, on 8th, they got that parking lot there.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's right,
why.
that's something.
Usually they block off.
Yeah, I know what you have here, yeah.
Because it's right next to the band shell and all the
She said that-
festivities are here.
They're using, the building on the corner for crafts. Who owns that building?
Masonic building?
No, it's on that side. It used to
Misa.
be a fitness center, it used
Misa.
to be,
Hector
Yeah,
Gladstone's
Misa.
old
they're
office?
using that building, so maybe that's why they
that's
want
why.
that area.
Well, you got the parking lot right across from there. Oh, yeah.
Are they still looking for vendors too? Rick?
I'm sure.
Probably.
Who's doing that, Marcia?
No, Barb Thorne,
Okay,
I would contact her.
all right.
But no, I think you're right. Marcia might be in charge of the vending.
Oh, is Marcia?
Okay.
They are still blocking 9th in the map
Yeah.
by the city hall, by the band shell. So they're still blocking that one. What they're doing is they're asking to block 8th on both sides. That's new.
I make a motion for the special events application for Leaf Erickson Day.
Support.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. Next is 2017-24 for Leif Erikson proclamation.
We've done this for a few years in a row now. We designate that Saturday as Leif Erikson Day. It'll be October 7th, so we've given you an attached resolution 24, recognizing October 7th as Leif Erikson Day.
I make a motion for the resolution 2017-24 Leif Erickson proclamation.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Number 13, approval for a request to purchase city-owned property by Andy Adams. Mr. Anderson, do you want to make some comments?
Yeah, this is something that came up pretty quickly here, so I'm walking it in tonight, and I apologize, but Andy was, in June 30th, the council agreed to move forward, or actually it was July 3rd, July 3rd. The council agreed to move forward to investigate Andy's request to purchase property next to his house, a city-owned property next to his house. His proposal was for $2,000. Council did agree, approved a motion to have staff review that. As part of our procedures, Andy's responsible for providing information back to the city in the review. We just received appraisal for the property, and it came back at $5,000. I did contact, or Jim Wiseman actually contacted Andy and asked him if he'd be willing to pay the $5,000, and he said yes. One of the reasons why I'm kind of pushing this forward quickly after that is we have a planning commission meeting tomorrow night, and typically some of these items, kinds of issues do go through planning commission for review. Council has the option of approving it at $5,000. He's changed his bid or proposal, or however else you want to move forward. So I'm just bringing it forward for council's opinion, council's direction for staff.
Well, I thought they should have gone through the planning commission first.
Well, one of the things we wait on, Lee, is that appraisal, because
Yeah.
we're not sure how much it's actually worth, and the appraisal is a pretty good benchmark. So that's one standard that we go by.
And as far as I know, there were no plans for that.
There have been no plans. In fact, if you read through the appraisal, it does talk about it being in a floodplain. It just means that they'd have to get insurance, extra insurances for building.
I guess my thoughts are, I think the property's worthless over there unless we needed to go through with utilities, but it sounds like that's been satisfied, we don't need it for that, and I think we should grab the money and run.
How fast?
Fast.
Okay, make the motion, quick.
I'll make the motion, we sell Andy Adams the property for $5,000 with the stipulations of the deed prep, that it's designed through the city, how the cost structure is worked through. that it's followed, the procedure's followed,
And there's no building requirements.
and there's no building requirements.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
That's the business for tonight. We'll go into closed session, but first, if anyone in the council or in the chambers would like to make a comment, does Bruce need to give us an update? No?
I don't need to, let's see if there's a question.
Are they still gonna shave that alley down in the 200 block?
Yeah, oh, yes.
200 block of,
Yes.
okay.
Mr. Pop, any comments?
I have nothing for tonight.
I have nothing.
Go ahead, Lee.
Oh, okay, just a comment here on the state of our nation. My heart goes out to the people of Texas for the mess they've had down there. I mean, what do you do with 4 feet of rain? Now I see there's all kinds of wildfires out in Oregon and California.
California.
People's homes getting burnt, and now a Category 5 hurricane is going to hit Florida. Tell you, the UP's looking better and better every day. That's all I have.
Need a motion to go into closed
I guess
session?
I got a couple things, Doc. Street sweeping, I was hoping that the street sweeper on the streets that aren't getting repaired, a lot of the storm sewers are plugged up, and with the rain, the streets are flooding more than
I've
they
seen
should be.
this sweeper out.
Well, then we need to have somebody, I know the summer students through the summer cleaned up some of the storm drains, the lids, and I think that's, needs to be done. I was up filling a water jug at the spring when Pelican and Parker were up there cleaning up a little bit, and they said that it looks like the valve is leaking underneath the spring and it's running the water on the side of the spring, so I'm hoping that we can go through with our project and...
That's one of the, and I mentioned in my report,
Yeah.
that's one of the issues we're gonna bring to SHPO, is we've gotta do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we can legally get through that fairly quick. Road shouldering, 4th Avenue is pretty rough looking. That new strip that we just put a tar, I'm hoping that it doesn't start breaking off. Over by Red Line, a little bit by Valley View. Then I was wondering about the Hanbury Lake Beach project that was put off until fall, when that's supposed to start, the restoration.
Yeah, we keep monitoring the groundwater, and it's very, very wet in that area, so it looks like it's getting pushed off farther into maybe December.
Okay. Was there grant money?
No grant money
No
in
grant
it.
money in
Nope,
there?
that was all just trying to do it as local as we could.
Okay.
We are, we're anticipating we're going to be able to get at that this winter. We need to get the turbidity blanket in place as per the permit. So we'll probably be doing that towards the end of October, first part of November.
And then the other thing, I was hoping that this fall that I had suggested when the trees were dormant in front of City Hall, that they were trimmed up because they're overtaking the front of the building. That's all I got.
I have no other comments, so we need a motion to go into closed session.
What's the motion, what's the closed session for? Because you guys, you're only allowed to go into closed session for certain
Personnel.
things.
It's for personnel.
What about personnel?
Wages.
Discuss wages?
No, it's for the layout of the new electric person on what we want to do for the hiring process.
Like looking at like salary structure?
It's for it's for what Ray had in his notes here, as far as if the council agreed to pay for the schooling for the new person, if we took somebody that did not have the schooling, or we were gonna go the other way and not pay for that. What was talked about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, I think everybody that was involved on that, as far as the contract if we were to take and pay for the schooling or help pay for the schooling, they would be required to have a contract so many years after they were schooled and graduated with their lineman degree. Ray wanted some guidance on that.
Yeah, there was some conversations, Grant, about whether or not we should pay for the schooling, and if we did, that there was something to have assurances of staying for a period of time. It's pretty common.
I agree. I was more on the closed session aspect of it. I'm not trying to step on toes of whoever was asking for. I don't think that applies for a closed session per se. There's very limited things that you can go into closed session for, negotiations, employee discipline, if it's requested by the employee. I'm just trying to keep us from having anybody upset with us.
Then can we have that discussion without going into closed session?
I think we can talk about.
I mean,
Mark
no
brought it up.
names will be mentioned.
Mark brought it up
No, it's a
during.
policy. It's a policy.
That Mark brought it up during his council comment. I think it's certainly appropriate to chat about it right now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lee. Go ahead.
I feel we should keep it the way it is because we've had so much trouble just to get people to apply. We should keep the rate structure that's there, just like the last gentleman we had.
I guess my feelings are, I would like to see whoever we offer the job to, whoever Ray offers the job to, make the decision if he wants to sign a contract for after he's done school and work here for however many years, or if he wants to pay for the schooling himself. I think that, it'd be his option. That's mine.
I could be mistaken, Ray, but wasn't there something in there where like after this latest gentleman, once he gets to be a full-fledged lineman, he has to stay here like 3 years anyway, or 5 years, or 3 years?
Did we have him sign a contract?
There's an agreement, I'm not exactly sure on it, but I think if he leaves within the first year, there's a percentage.
Right, yeah.
Goes back and pays a
I
percentage.
think it's through 5 years.
Yeah.
After he's full...
After 5 years, he would not have to pay nothing.
Right, okay.
I'm good with something like that.
I am too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I just thought that, leaving the gentleman or gal, whoever was going to be offered the job, to make that decision themselves.
And are you close to
We're close.
picking someone?
We're getting close. Yeah, we actually have 4 applications right now that we're reviewing. The 4th just came in, actually. They're all first year, starting out apprentices, so it's a 4-year deal. It's not just 1 or 2 years.
Get no line.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with paying for it, but if I was in that shoes, if I was on that side of the fence, I would like to make the decision myself.
I told you we get no line.
Well, I just hope whoever you take stays. To me, that's a big item, Get somebody
Well, the council doesn't have to make any
invested in the community.
motion then to do that with just an agreement. I think we all agree that we'd like to see them, if they're gonna get paid to go to school, that they put in so many hours for the city. Or pay us back for the schooling. I think we all would agree to that. We don't need a closed session. We need a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menahee?
Yes.
Mr. Potts?
Yes.
Yeah, they pulled.